Hey everyone, it's one of your new hosts, Bobbey Biddle, and I'm super excited to do this bonus Pride episode with our Pride Guard Roundtable. Welcome everyone to our Pride Guard Roundtable. I am your host, Bobbey Biddle. First time as a host, and I'm already by myself. That sounds about right. Okay, well here we go. Pride Guards. Flaggots, any of the other words used to describe the group of color guard people that come together to perform in Pride. I am from the Northeast, the Philadelphia area, so I've been a part of the original Pride Guard that does New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, the Flaggots. Yes, but ever since then, these amazing groups have popped up all over the country, and I'm excited to welcome some special guests tonight. We have Jeremy Denzler coming to us from the Northeast, New England area. Hi, Jeremy.
Hello.
Hi, Jeremy. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thanks
Happy
for
to
being
be
with
here.
us. Yeah. And then we also have Del Duke from the Indy Pride Guard. Hi, Del. Welcome on board.
Hey there. Welcome to the party.
We have Scott Ruiz, who's a couple hours ahead of us. I don't know. But Scott's from Southern California. Hi, Scott.
Hello. Happy Pride Month.
And we've got some Florida in the house. Brianna Cipriani from Central Florida Sounds of Freedom. Hi, Bree.
Hey, what's up?
And finally joining us from the place of the cleanest air in the country, Morgan Jameson, joining us from Denver. Hi, Morgan.
Hello, hello, hello. The cleanest air or the lack of air? Who's to say?
Yeah, the air quality here is not so good. I don't know if anyone else is dealing with a crazy heat wave, but, you know, it's a little bit insane up here. But thank you all for being with us this evening to celebrate Pride, talk all things Pride, color guard groups and parades and festivals. So we've talked a little bit about the 32 count life story. So I think everyone's sort of ready, right? Have you got it like in your head? You have an idea of what you're going to do? Okay. So you get 32 counts to give us your life story, 8 counts off the Met. And we're going to start with Jeremy Denzler from New England. So Jeremy, if you're ready, once you hear that 8 count, let's have that 32 count story.
I'm Jeremy Denzler. I'm from just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. I've been doing color guard since the age of 4. So I started when I was 4. I marched till I was 22 back when there was an age out, from cadet class to world class, and then just a couple of years of drum corps with the Blue Stars. I taught for about 20 years, and in 2018, I founded the New England Pride Color Guard, formerly known as the Boston Pride Color Guard, which is a story we'll get into later on. Like I said, I live right outside of Boston. I have a husband and a 22-year-old son, and that's me.
Nice. The first time I did it, I was scared out of my mind, so you did a good job. All right, Del, you're up. You get 8 count off the Met. Del joining us from the Indy Pride Color Guard group. And whenever you're ready, let's hear it.
All right. I am Del Duke, born and raised in Southern Indiana, last of 7 kids. Went to North Harrison High School, marched Adagio. Yes, I am that old. Black Gold, Pride of Cincinnati, and Northern Lights, as well as the Cavaliers, all back in the early 2000s. Graduated from Indiana University with a degree in psychology, worked for the state of Kentucky as parole officer, recently retired from full-time teaching as an educational director for Tri-State Marching Arts, but still do some design and choreography. Also board member for Pride and Black Gold, and like to spend my time traveling with friends and relaxing with my bestest rescue boy, Nikki.
Oh, that was like so polished and so put together. I love it. All right.
Come prepared.
Exactly. Scott is next. Scott Ruiz joining us from SoCal. All right, Jeremy, let's get the 8 off the Met.
Hello, everyone. My name is Scott Ruiz. I come to you from the beautiful city of Long Beach, California, one of the gay meccas of the country. I grew up in a city called Camarillo, about an hour northwest of here. Started in the marching arts in high school, was in drumline, defected to color guard through drum corps, which in turn led me to Riverside Community College, where I did Fantasia. A couple years after that, did Diamante, so was in that kind of WGI world class arenas for a little bit, taught at various high schools, and now I'm the color guard director at USC and part of the SoCal Pride Color Guard that we sponsored through the Winter Guard Association of Southern California currently.
Love it, love it, love it. And Bree, are you ready? You're up next. Bree joining us from Central Florida. All right, Jeremy, let's have it.
Hey, I'm Bree. I'm in Orlando, but I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I did 8 seasons of color guard there, and I did a little bit of WGI as well. And then I moved down here in about 2019, and I took 2 years break. And then I found Central Florida Sounds of Freedom, and now I'm the current color guard director there, and I also sit on the board of directors.
Love it. Oh, and she left a little bit of time. I love that. All right, last one coming to us from Denver. We have Morgan. Morgan, whenever you're ready. Jeremy, let's hear that Dr. Beat.
My name is Morgan Jameson. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I've been marching color guard since 2003. Marched all 4 years of high school. Did drum corps with the troopers. Did lots of WGI in A, Open, and World Class. Marched with my university. I performed on the local stage show here with a dance company called Oracle Performance Ensemble, and performed in alumni corps. And for the last 10 years, I've been involved with Flaggett's Denver. And for 7 of those 10 years, I've been the director. And in my real life, I'm a bilingual speech language pathologist.
Well, clearly we have some exciting, interesting, and accomplished people to speak to. So I look forward to digging into your stories. I think Jeremy asked me to host this episode because, well, hello, I'm a sister. But secondly, I'm also have been a previous performer with the Mid-Atlantic Pride group. I decided, I think it was 2018. I was like, I'm going to do a one and done because you can't tell that group that they're not, the Blue Devils going down the street. So I was like, I'm going to give it a one and done. And it was a fun time doing it in, my home city of Philly. And so I can empathize with the heat, the summer heat, and but also sort of the meaningful part of participating in the groups that march in the Pride Festival. So I look forward to digging into each of your different experiences here soon. Let's take a quick break, and when we return, we will dive into what it's really like behind the scenes of being a part of a Pride Guard.
Hey everyone, it's Jeremy, and here are your announcements coming from the box. Don't miss all of our bonus content, including On a Water Break in Rhinestones with your host Lexi Duda, exploring the world of the twirlers. Don't miss Parades and Drum Majors at Step Off with your host Jack Goudreau, and get lost in translation with your host Cynthia Bernard, exploring all the words that confuse all of us in the marching arts all across the world. And go Behind the Lens with marching arts photographers all across the country with your host, Chris Marr. Plenty more bonus content from On a Water Break, so listen anywhere you get your podcasts. If you want to be on a Water Break as a guest, or you know somebody that would make a great guest for On a Water Break, email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com or find us on social media. Okay, field staff, take it away.
Let's reset.
Welcome back, everybody. We're having a good time already. We're going to dig in and find out a little bit more about everyone's different experiences around the country. And so let's get to it. We want to know a few things from each of you. So I'm going to pose the same couple of questions, and would just love to have a dialogue and find out how each area does what they do. So Jeremy, talk to us a little bit about, what the process is like in New England. And, we're looking for maybe the funniest thing to ever happen and maybe the most challenging thing to happen. And also what you get out of it and your performers get out of it by being involved.
So for us, I think one of the biggest groups, we have about 80 performers in our color guard, so the challenge right there is, it's keeping everybody, getting things organized. And I think I've chatted with many of you offline. The biggest challenge we have is by far sound. Like our color guard stretches like like probably almost 2 city blocks long. So I think for us that our biggest challenge is just how do we make the music loud enough for everyone to hear it. But it's also for me, it's really great. This group of performers that from 19 years old through 70 years old in our color guard. So it's really, we have people from all generations of color guard in New England that have come together in this group. And I think that's, for me, that's the thing I like the most about our group is that we are it's a broad spectrum of performers, but everybody is on an even playing field and everybody has fun and everybody enjoys it. And are we the cleanest? Maybe not always, but we, I'm being honest. It's a struggle when you have that wide of a range of performers. Yeah. And getting some people that haven't marched in 20 years to be able to understand how to do modern choreography. They work hard, and we all work hard with them. But I think that is to me the most rewarding thing of is like I stand in front of the color guard as the director, and I've got people that marched in some of these classic Quasar and St. Anthony Imperials, and I've got people that march in Blessed Sacrament right now. Yeah, and they're all together in one group, and that's really great. Yeah.
Would you? Jeremy will always get you with those sound effects. What would you say that there has been maybe a specific fond memory or a specifically fun year that you remember from all of your years of doing it?
I think for me, year 2 was my favorite. We did share and it was fun, and it was the first year we were a really a ginormous group. We did our first night parade, which was we started out the first year just doing Boston Pride, and that was the only thing we did. And then we added 2 more parades the second year, and one of them is Providence, Rhode Island, which is still our favorite parade because it's an evening parade. It's in the dark. It's a lot of fun. We had a great group of performers. We got some great footage of the group, and it was like the best time I ever had marching in a parade in all my years of performing in color guard.
I love that. Yeah. And do you find that you have the same, you have like a good return rate that people want to come back year after year and participate?
We do. It's very interesting because if anything, I feel like we just keep getting bigger and bigger, and it's a nice problem to have, but it also has challenges.
You might have to do like a JV team.
We've talked about having a world in an open.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I love that. I've always thought about going up to Boston and New England. We're not that far, so maybe I'll venture up.
You're welcome. You're welcome anytime. Yeah.
So, Del, my Indiana friend, same couple of questions, fond, memorable memories, maybe some challenges, and sort of the overall what you get out of it and what it means to all of you to participate.
Sure. So I would say my fondest memory would be the first year of performing. Was invited by friends, said, sure, sounds like a great time. We go up, we do rehearsal. After rehearsal, lots of alcohol, bad decision. The next day is like 92 by 11 o'clock. When we step off, they had just repaved the road. We get a quarter mile down the road, and everybody's looking at each other going, I'm seeing stars. Sabers are going up and hitting the ground. Like, we're all just running like it's bombshells. I turned to my partner and said, I'm going, you got to catch it, and hit the ground. Like, it was just hilarious, but awful and funny all in the same. Lesson learned, more water, less alcohol. So for sure, I'll agree with Jeremy. The sound. We this year were about 50, which has its limitations. Each year we keep growing, which is fantastic. We ended up having to split the group in half. There were half in the front, half in the back, and a large sound system hanging on for dear life in the middle, which definitely worked out much better. And I would say the thing that keeps me doing this, I stopped performing and kind of moved to the admin role a few years ago. But it's just awesome to see the different, because again, this is Indiana. We've got a lot of powerhouse color guards from the high school level and the independent level and all of that in the area that come in and do this. So some of these high school kids come in and join us, and they get to stand right beside their rock star that they've been watching all winter, or their favorite performer from drum corps standing right beside them, like being silly and dropping, that they never get to see all of that behind the scenes stuff. So having the ability to let those kids know we're all human, we're all the same. Like, we might look like a rock star in a uniform head on the field, but we're still just busted in rehearsal trying to get down the road. This year was really cool too. The Chicago Pride Guard came down, and we got to hang out with them in addition to our kids. So just continuing to share those, like everybody loves to do, those memories and the connections that we were able to make doing that, is just, that for me is the best part about all of it.
That's amazing. It's almost like almost a bit of a recruiting tool in a sense too, like the high school kids interacting with the independent kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're 2 conversations in, and it's obvious we need some rock star auto AV company to come together and create this great traveling sound system for parade groups. Yeah.
Or if somebody wanted to donate like a wireless earbud system for us all, like, I don't even care if the audience can hear it. I just want to know that my kids can hear it so that we stay on top.
Yes. I love that. Well, let's get Scott in here. Scott, our buddy from SoCal. So, funny memories. Any challenges, and your overall flowery, lovely wrap up of what it means to all of you.
Yeah, of course. Just a quick a little back history on where the SoCal Pride Color Guard was born from. There used to be a group here locally, and I think there were groups all over the country called ROTC. So it was the Righteously Outrageous Twirling Corps. So I see a lot of you shaking your head, so you know what that is. So that was my first experience back in the early 2000s, marching with them. A lot of the older instructors that I looked up to, and again, that whole situation with like seeing somebody in the World Guard. Now I get to be with them in the Pride Parade, spinning a saber, doing all that stuff. So that's kind of where that originated from. That I couldn't tell you as far as the history of when that stopped, but a group of 6 of us were asked to join the Orange County Pride contingency, which was comprised of Disney dancers, and that was in 2012. So we kind of started back up then with that group, which sponsored us for a couple years. The Pride Guard got really big, really popular, and it just became too much of a logistical nightmare to handle all the Disney dancers, the Disney parade people, and then us just kind of shoved in the back. And so that's where we decided to kind of break off and start our own group again. And that happened, I believe we broke off in 2018. So from 2013, 2016, we were kind of part of that Orange County contingency, and then broke off into our own group, which after COVID, I believe, is when the Winter Guard Association of Southern California actually started sponsoring us. So which is really nice to have that support of the Color Guard circuit here, which our circuit in Southern California is actually bigger than WGI, which you can imagine that. Or maybe it's not now, but it was pre-COVID, so we're probably pretty matched up. We have over 300 units in our circuit, so you can imagine that four show sites on any given Saturday or Sunday. So with that said, I think the evolution of what we've seen throughout the years is now it encompasses a whole range of instructors, directors, performers. So some of the directors now are getting to perform with some of their graduated students that have moved on to college and doing independent guard, and the biggest thing for me, and I'll go back to funny stories in a second, but is just encompassing the group and providing a safe space for them to celebrate Pride and to know it's okay, especially with how tumultuous the situation is right now politically, and with all these groups coming out and getting a lot of fuel under the fire with their agendas against the LGBTQ plus community. It's very important for us to be out there, and for especially for these younger performers, to know that you can celebrate Pride. You are welcome to do that. This is a safe space for you, and again, being there for the community in the parades is also just a beacon of love and light to our communities here, because we are obviously in Southern California. It's a little bit of a bigger area, so we usually start our season in Long Beach, which is a cool parade. It's right on the coast. Then I don't know if you've heard, but there used to be LA Pride, and now it's WeHo Pride and LA Pride. Don't ask me about that drama. I don't know how it all split up, but now it's two separate events on two separate weekends. So so that's really fun. And then we usually end our season down in San Diego, which would be the third week of July, to kind of encompass that area of the country, because we do have a lot of counties here, and a lot of performers that come from all over the area, and also Southern Nevada. We kind of are part of Southern Nevada now. The Las Vegas area color guards are kind of in our jurisdiction, which is totally awesome. Funny story, the first year we marched with Orange County Pride, we came back 2012. My best friend, Eric, he was getting onto the truck and getting his flag, and when he stood up, the truck started moving, so he fell back, which isn't very funny, but he kind of shocked out, got up, we're like, okay, you're good, yeah, it was okay. Everyone kind of freaked out about it, and then we did the whole parade, finished everything, go to Pride, we're in the car driving home from San Diego, and he looks over at me and goes, I fell off the truck, like you did. And we just started laughing, like totally, like the whole way home we were just laughing like uncontrollably. So that again like pops in my head as like one of the most like funniest memories that I have of doing Pride Guard. Again, challenge. Well, I'll get on new with music because we have about 50 to 60 performers at any given parade, so it does become a little bit of a challenge. And also this year with the truck rentals, we usually get a 32-foot bed, and this year they've been only having like 8-foot to 16-foot trucks for us. So that's been a little bit of a challenge to work with these rental companies to get the float space and to get the speakers in the correct place. But yeah, again, it's just really exciting. I personally, shameless plug for me, have not been marching with the Pride Guard the last 3 years, but during COVID, my COVID project was to learn how to DJ. So I wanted to use my musical talents to kind of foster myself in that way. And so I started doing that a little bit locally at some LGBTQ plus nightclubs here. So my role with the SoCal Pride Color Guard is A, to direct, and B, to just be on the float and be the announcer and the DJ for the Pride Guard. So that to me is very fun, to announce them to the crowd, talk to the crowd, explain to them what they're doing, get the crowd excited about Pride. I just had some of my friends, they just got married in May, and they rode with us through Long Beach, and I got to announce them to the crowd with the Pride Guard. And we're celebrating love, we're celebrating their marriage, we're celebrating our freedom to do that and love who we want to love. Yeah. So definitely,
that's so amazing.
Yeah,
oh my goodness, I love
definitely
that.
So important to uplift our community in those ways as well. But the group that we have is just so dynamic, so fun. Again, you get a range of people. I mean, a lot of these performers that show up and that I see, I'm like, man, like these are young. This was me like 10 years ago, and it's kind of crazy to think about that, and they're moving up and they're learning, and just to see them when they get on the parade route, and I'm standing on the float and I look back and just see a sea of flags, and they're smiling, and the crowd's just screaming and reacting to them, and that's the best thing, to see us come together for our community, and again, just be there to celebrate love and life, and being free to love who we want to love, and live how I want to live without, fear of persecution or, having to hide it, especially, like I said, right now in the climate, with our trans brothers and sisters, and, however they identify, I want to welcome them in too. We have a lot of trans people that march with us, and really, again, providing a space for them is super important.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, so that's us in SoCal currently.
It's the same over here in Orlando.
Yeah,
it's I love that you say that, because we've had a couple experiences where we had one, our second year, we had a member who was a volunteer who after our parade finally came out as trans, and they said that being around our color guard was like what made them feel safe. And it was like, to me, that was what, as the director of our group, it was one of the most amazing experiences, where this person actually messaged me and said, like, being at the parade with your group made me feel comfortable enough to actually finally be my true self. Yeah.
And we do, with that said, we do have the Pride Guard performs, and then during the breaks, we have one of the local drag queens, Paloma McMichaels, who will perform like a minute routine in front of the color guard just to kind of give them a little break. And she performed in some local color guards here and grew up doing color guards. So it's nice to kind of encompass her too with us during the parade. And I love that. I love to have her with us. You know, it's just nice to show the inclusion in that too. So
that's smart. I'm gonna have to steal that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, you got to give a little. I mean, literally the water break. Yeah, you got to get in the water break. Put the drag queen in on the water break. You know.
Well, it's easy. I think it's easy to sometimes forget when we are directing and performing and organizing and worrying about sound trucks that there's this whole greater purpose for which we're serving in a way. And like you said, Scott, it's an election year. There's so much on the line. I heard that one specific presidential candidate say that on day one, he's going to eliminate trans protections in schools. He's going to pull federal funding from schools if they're, it's just so discouraging. And I certainly don't want to take us down a sad place, but our presence, even with our rainbow flags, is using our voice in our unique way.
It's absolutely true.
Candidate have to do tosses in windy Wyoming for all eternity, and may he always drop.
Well, and here's the thing too: is we're in Southern California. There's a lot of support here for the LGBTQ plus community, but there are other places that I think you go. Sometimes, a little bit in Florida and the East Coast, there are more rural communities where they're having pride. It's so important for you to be there, and so important for you to show up to show solidarity in those places. So letting people know it's okay to let these people live how they want to live. And be who they want to be. And even if you don't like it, you don't have to agree, let them celebrate, let them do what they're going to do.
There's a lot of things they do that I don't like, but I leave them alone.
Exactly. I mean, I'm Jewish and I don't see my rabbi in the grocery store trying to take bacon off the shelf, So
it's funny. I love that you say that because we do like some really big parades, but we also do some parades where there's like 50 people in the entire crowd, and I think those are just as important.
Sure. Absolutely, because you're creating visibility in those rural communities. Yeah. And that's I think the main issue is the exposure to diversity in those more rural communities. They don't have. They've never been. Some of those kids never been to the big city, never seen that, and maybe they're afraid to come out. And lo and behold, here's a pride color guard coming down the street, and gives them a beacon of hope. That they can be who they want to be.
If I can add on to that, oh sorry.
No, go ahead.
You need to go. Okay, sorry. No, I mean if I can add on to that, we start our season performing in Colorado Springs, which is where the Club Q shooting was. And we performed in that parade the year after that happened. And the Grand Marshal of that parade was the man that stopped the shooter. And so it's also just like a nice way to be with the survivors and say, no, we're still here and we're still beautiful. And like, you cannot bring us down. And like, that was a really special moment to get. So like, definitely see both, like all the full spectrum of experience with that of, like showing, the protest half of it, but also like the community half of it of like, we're going to come take care of our own and we're going to give those people that need it the round of applause that they need, so definitely feel that.
Yeah, Morgan, if you want to go next and talk to us a little bit about Denver and actually a place that's on my bucket list to visit and give us all the things that are happening out in Denver.
Absolutely. I can totally do that. Where do I start? So I guess I could, thinking about sort of that problem of practice question. Ours is actually the weather. The weather in Colorado is famously volatile. So one year in 2016, we had 100-degree temperatures, and our parade, you wouldn't think it, but Denver has the third largest pride parade in the country. It's New York, San Francisco, and then Denver. But we have about 100,000 people show up to just the parade, and then about 500,000 show up to the festival. And so our parade's pretty long, and we were in the back that year. We were one of the later groups to go on. So we had to sit and bake in the sun for while we were staging. And then when it came time to go do the show, it was midday. It was like noon, you know, like, or 11, I think is what it was. But the asphalt was so hot that it melted our shoes, which was pretty wild. So we've had like that end of the spectrum. And then last season, Colorado got record rain. So we couldn't rehearse because we don't use the facility. We just use public parks. So it was really like, we got like historic levels of rain, and I was doing negotiations with Mother Nature, and she was like, this is not your year. And so we just had to work around that. So I'd say that's kind of our biggest problem with practice. And then another funny story, our first year out, so the Denver Pride Parade it's a single turn out of a park, and it's a straight line, which is nice. But the second we turned, protesters came into the street and they separated us from our truck. And that year we did our sound in the back that year because we were pretty small, and they wouldn't let our truck through. They were protesting the police. The police were behind us, and they thought our car was part of the police. So they kept us from our truck. And our director at the time, you know, was arguing with them, like pleading with them to let the truck through. And then they wouldn't let it through. So we had the driver turn the music on, and we just performed on the other side of them. We had the cleanest double on earth because we were like all enraged. Like we caught straight up and down, and you see watch that, it goes up, smack. Like it was wild. But then because the truck had idled so long and the way we had the speaker rigged, the battery of the car died. So we got it around, but then like we got, you know, getting ready to do the actual on the move performance. Like it was Proud Mary by Tina Turner. You know, it has that build. And like right as like it was about to explode into the choreography, you just hear the music go, and it was,
Oh no.
How unsatisfying.
Yes.
Oh my
no.
gosh.
Terrible. It was so terrible. And then the protesters reached out to us and acted like we did something to them. They were like, you guys were so mean to us. And I'm like, and they were, you know, they were trying to say that we had it on video too. Like, so they were like, you hit us with your flags. And it was lies on top of lies. So we learned a lot of really like, that first year was a bit of a baptism by fire. Kind of like it or not. So, and then just some of the joys, I think overall it really feels good to be a thread in this like vibrant tapestry that is this whole movement, from just the gay rights movement to you know, we're Flaggots Denver, but we're a spinoff of the original Flaggots, but we call them the mothership. And that tradition, you know, started back in 1991, and to see that it has been carried on to now, like it is an honor, like we have permission to use the name, and it's an honor to be a part of that community, and to get to benefit from the work that those who came before us provided. And then it's just really good to be a part of, you know, like Denver's Pride Parade turns 50 this year, and we've been in 10 of those years. So it's really cool to know that we've been bringing joy for all that time, and to see my favorite is when kids see us, because, you know, you get all, the audience is close, you can hear them. And like every year we get a few kids that are like, Mom, how do they do that? You know, and it really, like overall, it brings it to me. Flaggots and Pride Guards kind of brings things back to that original spark of Color Guard, of like, you know, we all can remember the first time someone put a flag in our hands. And then like, you know, we all have very good resumes, and, you know, like we got to experience the full spectrum of Color Guard, to do like, you know, rip your face off Color Guard and, you know, everything in between. And so for Pride Guards, it's really nice to come back to that. You do get kind of that pure spark of like, I am spinning for me. Like, I'm not a paintbrush in some director's toolkit. I'm spinning for me. And this is my art and myself. And like, and one of my members talks a lot about like, I want to platform all these. We need to use our platform for this. And I'm like, I'm platforming you guys. Like, that's what, you know, like, don't forget that. Like, I'm here to platform y'all. So
yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
But yeah,
And it's funny because that word flag it, I actually have a specific memory of being in high school and walking down a one specific hallway, I think probably to choir or band, which is where half of my classes were, and this big, tall, a-hole football player leaning against the wall going, flag it, as I walk by. And it was horrible then. And then now, here it is, like this beautiful, wonderful thing within our community. I'm like, you
And
know
it's,
what?
I can't wait to see the flagons. Where are the flagons?
Exactly. Oh, I wear that title with pride now. Well, Bree, you're bringing up the caboose. Florida is one of my favorite places to visit, but it must be an interesting place to be full time in the queer space. And you're in Central Florida. Are you near Orlando? Is that sort of the general area?
Yeah. So we're based in Orlando,
So,
but we perform in all of Central Florida.
Right. And so, God bless Disney and the Orlando people for putting up the good fight. And but let's hear about how things work for you. I know you do Pride in October in Central Florida, but I would love to hear all about your experience down there.
Yeah. So as you said, our Pride Parade is in October, so we get a while to prepare for it. But honestly, I think my favorite thing about our guard specifically is that we take everybody. There's no audition. Even if you've never touched a flag before, you're included. And I think it's my favorite thing because I remember, holding a flag for the first time. I was like, wow. And, providing that experience for people who maybe felt like they couldn't because of who they were in high school and the climate was like down here or wherever they were. I think it's so important to provide this type of, this type of community that we're all looking for. And it's so nice to belong. As someone said, we're one of many threads of all of these pride guards, and it's so beautiful, all of the diversity. But there, not to say there hasn't been their struggles. We do, we've seen the protesters and the heat always gets us. And, we've definitely practiced and gotten interrupted by tornado warnings, which is always fun.
No way, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, I'm glad our park that we practice at has an outbuilding that we got to shelter in place in. It was a lot of fun. But
no, Brie, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, do you have one fond more memory to share? And then we're going to go right into commercial.
Oh, honestly, I think my favorite memory is, marching in Come Out with Pride. My very first year, I was just a member, and I had never marched in a Pride parade before. I didn't know what to expect. And of course, there were people in the streets because Orlando doesn't barricade like St. Pete does. Very smart. Yeah. Orlando doesn't have any barricades on the sidewalk, so people just literally come out into the street sometimes. It's interesting. We're ducking and diving and tossing all at the same time. It's great.
Yeah. We have a similar experience in Boston. There's just no barricades, and the crowd encroaches, and we have
that happens in Indy. The closer you get to the bars,
we have a great volunteer crew, and a lot of them are teachers, and they're like, "Get out of the way! They're throwing swords. You're gonna get hurt!" Like
we call them zombies. I'm like, watch out for the zombies.
Yeah.
We like to joke that we have a point system. If you hit a tall one, it's 10 points.
Oh my gosh. Well, look, it's been great chatting with all of you about your different experiences and your different areas throughout the country. So we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have What Are We Doing? We're going to do a gush and go. It's going to be a good time. So we'll be right back.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
Shop our extensive consignment inventory for great looks for your team that won't break your budget. Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
Check out our fun merchandise and gift items.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs. Contact us for custom show design services.
Clean out your storage areas and get money back into your budget with our consignment program.
Guard Closet is here to help you get all you want and need this winter season.
Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
Okay, it's time for What Are We Doing? This is always fun. This always gets a little spicy. But this is our guest's chance to go off about anything they want to, having to do with the marching arts or Pride. And because it's all about queer celebration on this episode, and it's our month, no one can tell us we are wrong. So, what are we doing? There it is.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing walking through a block of sabers while they're tossing in the middle of a parade? What are we doing? like
I mean,
literally
it just seems,
crossing the street.
It seems so obvious, right? I mean, but I apparently not. It's not obvious.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the perfect time to cross the road when the sabers are tossing.
I'm like, why do people think it's okay to just walk through the middle of a color guard while they're spinning?
Or ride their bike alongside, or if you're a photographer, we've had photographers sit and squat in the block to take our picture, and I'm like, you're taking your life in your hands, buddy, but okay.
And your camera. If I hit your camera, it's not my fault.
I've had people try to have full-on conversations with me from the side of the street while I'm performing. No, I don't know where the nearest convenience store is. I'm sorry. I'm in a parade.
What are we doing?
I know. All right. What are we doing, Del?
Okay. I am all for a club. I am all for the bar when the time is there. But when it's 11 o'clock and I'm trying to hear my music, I'm going to need you to turn down your concert system on the inside so I can hear. There is a half-block stretch that just is drowned out every year in our parade. Let us get through this, and honey, I will be more than happy to come back and enjoy your drink special. But I need to survive the day first without somebody dying.
Right, no competing soundtracks.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I know you want to have a quinceañera on your float, but can we let them do a run first before you have a quinceañera, please?
Just one. Just one
run through. Just one good one through.
All right, what are we doing, Scott?
What are we doing, parade officials? Rushing my truck and leaving my color guard in the dust. I cannot tell you how many times I have to tell the driver, slow down and don't listen to those people because you're going to lose everybody behind you. So
Same.
Let's send out a memo to all Pride Parade officials that you cannot rush the Pride color guard through the parade like you can the corporate groups that are marching with their employees. Because they can run with their banner, right? That's cute. Thanks for the support.
We put our truck in the middle. In the middle, and I'm the leader of the block, so I set the pace.
Right. I'm like, thanks for the support, AT&T. Let me see the receipts where you support all the Pride organizations and LGBTQ nonprofits. Thanks. But yeah, let's send a memo out to them to not rush the Pride Guard trucks or the Pride Guards in general, because we are important. We need to be seen, and we need to be taking 8 to 5 steps, if not smaller.
Exactly. I mean, you can only move so fast when you're twirling. Come on.
Oh my God. The times I'm like, I'm chasing the truck. But now being the DJ, being on the microphone, I can scream at the driver to slow down. And that makes me happy.
All right, Morgan, what are we doing?
I'm gonna what are we doing myself. So I impart into my members, I'm like, please be nice to all of the volunteers. Don't you dare be rude to anyone. don't you dare mouth off to anyone. And then the second somebody comes for one of my performers, Mama Grizzly, I get like possessed by like somebody else, and I'm like, don't you talk to them like that. And then I'm like, I'm the one that's like mouthing off. Or like if people walk into the block, I'm like the one that's shouting at them like, get out of there, you know.
As you should.
It's such a like, I'm like, yeah, here I am just telling people off when I told no one to tell anyone off. It's bad.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm like that with my students, with the students that I teach at the school. You know, it's always like, don't embarrass me, and then I'm embarrassing myself. So exactly. All right, Bree, what are we doing?
Girl, what are we doing by putting the loudest sound system right in front of the marching band? Girl, I can't hear the drummers back there. I don't know the tempo. I need them.
Well,
Same.
it sounds like all the other Pride color guard groups need whatever sound system that is. That's louder than your marching band.
Exactly. Girl, get you like 4 big speakers on this big parade float and you are good, because I could hear them from a mile away.
Oh my gosh.
I've been there. One year, they put the sponsor of the whole parade, Coors. You might have heard of them. They were behind us, and they had a big box truck that was amplified. And again, Mama Grizzly came out, and I was like, "Turn your shit down when that's, or turn your music down when we're performing." And they were so cool about it. They're like, "Yeah, absolutely." And then they were like, "We love you guys" afterwards. But I was like, "No, we shouldn't have been put next to each other. Why is this happening?"
And we had the opposite, where we were put right behind a little marching band at a parade, and I had to go to the people and be like, "You need to separate us, because I feel bad for them, because they're not going to be like, our sound system is going to overpower them, and it's not fair."
Yeah, it's interesting that some of these events, parades, seem like they're like, why wouldn't that be obvious? But you know, in Philly, because 2 out of the 5 producers are color guard marching band people, I mean, thankfully we know not to put 2 music groups back to back like that. But you know, all I'm saying is maybe there should be a national manual that we all refer to, but you know, who knows. All right, friends. Well, that was a fun What Are We Doing? But enough complaining. It's time for our Gush and Goes. This is an opportunity for you to boast and gush and just talk about something really exciting happening either with you, maybe the students you teach, your personal life, or with your Pride group. So it's time for a quick Gush and Go.
Great job, everyone. Set your equipment down. Gush and go.
Jeremy, Gush and Go.
So my Gush and Go is it's a story I often tell people as kind of the leader of our Saber line. I march in the front of the block, and I'm like this old guy who's in his 50s who can still keep up with them. I turn around, look behind me, and I'm like, it's like me and Blessed Sacrament 2024, like behind me. So for me, that's like my Gush and Go is like, as a performer, not just as the director of my Pride color, but as a performer, to turn around and be like, okay, like these people are behind me and they just got a medal at WGI. Like,
tell them kids how it's done.
That's right.
You're aging like fine wine.
And who said 50 is old?
It's not.
I know.
This beard is not gray for nothing.
Exactly. All right, Del, it's your Gush and Go.
I'm going to stick to theme. I'm going to gush on our sponsors. Like, we are completely self-funded. We are not a nonprofit. We just come together, do this, and leave. We learned very early on that we needed things, and we went to all of the places that support us during the fall, going, "Could you please help the poor?" And they showered us. Band Shop gives us whatever design shirt we want every year. Dance Sophisticates gives us whatever design flag we want. Music Travel Consultants and Dynamic Marching pay for our sound system and our truck. All the kids have to do is show up, do what they do, and go home. We charge a little bit that kind of goes to getting the bottled waters and doing some of that stuff. But the big projects, we are so fortunate that these groups that we spend so much money with and so much time collaborating with see enough in us and the value of us as people to give back with nothing in return. So I'm going to gush on about them as much as we can. They're amazing companies, and we're super proud that they continue to support us each year.
I love that. I find that, you know, when it comes to projects like this, events like this, that people do dig deep in their wallets when they can and if they can. And so that's a beautiful thing. I love that. Scott, what's your gush and go?
As much as I want to sit here and talk hours about pickleball, because I'm actually missing pickleball practice right now, I have to definitely, I know, but color guard skills do apply to pickleball, and we can have a whole other podcast about that. Just contact me and we'll do it. I really am just grateful for the people that are with me running this, Bobby Vega, Joey Leone, some of the other staff members that we have that write choreography and keep the guard together. I show up for the parade and we're blocking them, and Joey is our guard captain. He's running them, giving them checkpoints, cleaning them, so it's a very much a well-oiled machine right now, sponsored by the Winter Guard Association of Southern California, which again, for me, that's the circuit I grew up in, marching independent color guards, as a performer, as taught for many years as instructor, and now I've been 12 years as an adjudicator. So that to me, like, they fostered me, and it's just wonderful to give back to them and to be a part of the group during Pride season. You know what I mean? And they're definitely taking the step forward to provide this opportunity for all the performers and instructors and directors to keep performing, And another thing, again, just gushing about the more we get to these generations, the further away we get from the core history of what Pride was, going back to the Stonewall riots. We can all talk about that, and most of us know what that is, but some of these younger kids don't really understand that, and they don't know that. So I do make it a point every year to have a little bit of a discussion with them. What was the Stonewall riots? Why is it important? Who is Silva Rivera? Who is Marsha P. Johnson? What was their impact on the community? And we struggled in the beginning with Pride. Pride wasn't always such a pretty little land of rainbows, flowers, and sequins. When it first started, there was a lot of animosity and segregation still in the LGBTQ plus community at that time. So to see the evolution from what it was then to what it was now, it's just leaps and bounds. And I'm just proud to be a part of Legacy. And I'll always remind the children of where we came from and to go back and know your history and respect it, because there's a whole movement behind what we do, and they need to know. And the generations we need to keep that know-how alive through the generations. Very important. I gushed about that a lot during June and Pride season especially with the younger performers, so that they know.
Well, it's all pretty recent history too, and we're always on the verge of repeating bad history. So I think you're so right. It's important to keep retelling those stories, because we're only ever a generation away from being placed in a similar situation. So I love that so much. Morgan, gush and go.
Oh, in drum corps, I was never respectful of the gush and go, so I could go on and on, but I will try to be respectful of it here. So, first and foremost, I want to just gush over all of you and all of the other Pride directors that aren't sitting here today, because I think it's pretty magical that we have all figured out a way to create a third space for adult performers. Like, you age out, you kind of fall off a cliff. It's like you can go march world class, but it's nice that we're kind of, in a way, we almost create like a rec league for color guard performers, which is really cool. And like Bree was saying, we get emails too of people who said, I always wanted to march, but they didn't let boys march when I was in school, like all those. So bully for all of us for making that space for those people. And for, even in the marching arts, there's still discrimination against queer people, where it's like, oh, we tolerate how gay the color guard is, and here we're like, we're going to feature how gay the color guard is. Thank you very much. Which is really nice. So I could gush over all y'all all day. And then I just wanted to mention that I want to gush over Travis Prudhomme, who was the founder of Flaggett's Denver. He was a Dallas Flaggett and then came and started our chapter. And sadly, he passed away in 2017. And I made a deathbed promise to him that I would keep the guard going. And so without him, without him, I wouldn't have kept marching. My marching career would have ended in my 20s. And I'm just really grateful for him and the space that he created for all of us. And every year the show that we write is like a love letter to him. And so it's a big honor to be able to do that. And I could gush about that all day too, but those are mine.
That was a really beautiful tribute. Very lovely. Bree, want to bring us in with the last gush and go?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess my gush and go would be first and foremost to all of those that came before me. I'm so blessed to have been taught by so many wonderful people and wonderfully gay people. I think that LGBTQ people make this activity what it is. And I really do think that I stand on the backs of giants every time I spin. And I'm so blessed to not only have a place where I can be this creative and be myself, but I can also now create that for other people. I think it's my absolute favorite thing in the world.
Woohoo!
Oh my gosh, that was perfect.
I think that's such an important thing to bring up, Brie. It's like, I think for myself as like a teenager, color guard is what made me comfortable being myself. Yeah. Color guard is where I came out of the closet for the first time. Color guard is it's the first place I ever felt safe. And I think that if I can give that to any younger performers that want to be a part of our group, then that's what we're here for.
Well, I am gushing about my wonderful time with all of you. Thank you so much for coming together, sharing your different experiences. And it's funny because I felt like for so many years, it was like I knew my local Flaggots Pride Guard group. And then I got to see, Brie, I don't know if you've heard of Philly Freedom Band, like they're our area LGBT marching band. And to just know that it's everywhere and it's all over the place and it's thriving and beautiful is just worthy enough to gush about. So I love that. What a fun gush and go.
Hey, it's called Gush and Go, not Gush and Stay. Let's go.
Well, thanks for a great rehearsal this week. Thanks to our hosts. If any of our listeners would like to find any of you, let's say on Instagram or your Pride groups on Instagram, if they're local to you and maybe want to connect with you, can we go one at a time? Maybe you can give us a handle they could reach out to, Jeremy?
Sure. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of the above under New England Pride Color Guard.
Great. Del?
Also under on nepcg.org.
Okay, great. Del, what about you?
Yeah, we can be found on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for Indie Pride Guard, INDY. We also take anyone, so if you're interested in performing, there's also the members page, which we post on there. Sign up and come join us.
Scott?
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at SoCal Pride Guard. That kind of encompasses the whole group. And if you want to follow me, shameless promotion, with my DJ career as I DJ for the Pride Color Guard, it is at Retro Cub Music.
Morgan?
We are on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as Flaggots Denver, and then we are on Facebook as Colorado Color Guard All Stars Flaggots Denver. And then we also have a website. You can just Google Flaggots Denver. We're like the first thing that comes up.
And Bree?
So you can find most of our information out on cfsof.com. But we're also on Facebook as Central Florida Sounds of Freedom Band and Color Guard. And we're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads under CFSOF Band.
You guys have it all covered. And for anyone listening, if you're not in any of these areas, there's great Flaggots and Pride Color Guard marching band groups all over the country. All you have to do is probably Google your city, your closest city with Flaggots or Pride group. I know they're in Philly, New York, New Jersey, Columbus, Ohio, Texas. They're everywhere. So there's certainly one near you. But again, thank you for joining us, all the five of you. It's been such a great time chatting. One more thing. Don't forget that we have our YouTube channel now that has many of our interviews coming out as full video editions. Go and subscribe so you don't miss those. So before you close out of your podcast listening app, go subscribe, write a review, and share this with a friend. Follow us on social media at On a Water Break. and we'll see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Ream. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.